I didn't know much about postpartum depression prior to giving birth. It just wasn't something that was discussed. I definitely didn't want anyone to know, and I don't think I even talked to my family much about it. I think my mother only found out recently that I had even gone through, real postpartum. It was just not something we talked about. And even once I told my mom, she's like, I had something like that when I had you, but I don't remember. We've never talked about it before until recently.
Postpartum depression is a mood disorder that can affect women shortly before or soon after childbirth. Any woman, regardless of her race, age, social, economic, or educational background, can be impacted by this condition.
Women with postpartum depression present with a persistent change in mood that not only is associated with some disturbance in their life, but also a persistent mood that will extend beyond 2 or 3 days and will, go beyond 2 weeks. The range is between 7 and 14% of live births. So in this country, that works out to be approximately 500,000 women per year that are at risk for developing postpartum depression.
There's an overwhelming sense of anxiety as well as sadness, and there's also the tendency to isolate, and the chance for suicide is much greater in postpartum depression.
In the first 3 weeks or so, I started noticing that I just felt just completely overwhelmed and stressed, and it definitely was not going according to plan. I wasn't sleeping. Not that you sleep that much when you have babies anyway, but I was a mess. I was crying. I could not seem to shake that sort of overwhelming feeling that I had. I think I always worried about something happening to my babies or me. I think it was constantly in my head then, like I couldn't relax. I was just very wound up and, constantly checking on them. I was probably overdoing it in hindsight.
80% of women experience the baby blues. Transient anxiety, worry about, am I a good enough mom? Am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to resume my normal activities? Those symptoms go away within the first few weeks of delivering a baby. Postpartum depression may seem like it starts out that way, but the ruminations, the obsessions, checking locks sometimes, going to the crib and making sure the baby is safe all the time, not being able to sleep, feeling disconnected from her baby or her husband or her family, becomes very problematic. She's unable to function, and those symptoms become daily and intrusive and are present within a month of delivering a baby.
In rare instances, a woman may develop postpartum psychosis, a severe condition occurring in 1 in 1,000 births. Women suffering from postpartum psychosis require immediate treatment by a healthcare professional.
Postpartum psychosis is very acute. It's very dangerous, obviously, because the mother loses the ability to be rational during that time. So in postpartum psychosis, you will get a distortion of reality that is so severe that could actually impair your ability to tell what's real and what's not. Postpartum depression, you continue to have a sense of reality and you continue to realize what's happening around you, but there is, you are impaired because of the sadness, because of the anxiety, but not necessarily by thoughts of psychosis and delusions and hallucinations that women with postpartum psychosis will experience.
We had a home that had, at that time, it had like a landing upstairs, and I was sitting there and I was in a recliner nursing the babies one night, and it must have been like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I remember thinking, if we just all of us just fell over here right there, it was one of those things but then I kept nursing and I just sort of went on about my night or whatever. But I think that was one of those things I was like, okay, I'm really sort of flipping out here. My husband and I definitely talked about sort of it was time to do something to try to help me. And he was sort of like, go get some drugs if you need it. He's like, whatever you need, get it or whatever. And then heard about this program at NIH, which appealed to me. I learned about the NIH treatment study via the internet and research that we were doing.
Postpartum depression can be treated by psychotherapy. It can be treated by medication. Individual therapy or group therapy can be very helpful to a woman with postpartum depression. It's important for women to seek out help from a healthcare professional because that healthcare professional is usually aware of other resources that they can use, and then that individual will be more prepared to either intervene immediately or with a medication or to recommend other approaches to treatment.
I would like other moms to know that it's okay, it's normal if you do have it, it's treatable, and that to be active and to seek help and, not just sort of sit back and think that you can heal yourself over time and that sort of thing. Because I do feel like if I had not sought treatment, it's something that would have sort of festered over time and become more difficult to manage. If we talk about our experiences, if we're open about our experiences, then that sort of, takes this mask off where other women feel comfortable knowing that this is okay. Other women have gone through this and they're okay on the other end. But we need to engage in that conversation and continue that.